I think there's a lot of value in, being able to watch the coaching that happens between like a line of, let's say, 14 students.
Mhm.
Because even if I'm that first guy, you know, um, what ends up happening is, okay, I get the lessons that you're trying to teach me, but even with the other 13 students, I learn multiple other things about, how those issues are resolved. And also I learned what good coaching looks like. I learned like what that
Right.
style looks like. So
And there's
if
a lot of
I
crossover too there, right? I mean, that's
yeah,
so I started doing um, the end of 2021. I had some close friends and other peers and mentors, right, that have hosted me to classes that are also very accomplished instructors themselves. That constantly reached out to me on a almost weekly basis. One of which is my good friend Kent Hauer of Green Mountain Defense out in Lewisberry, Pennsylvania. So Kent's a very close personal friend of mine and a very accomplished instructor. But Kent was always the guy that was poking and prodding me. He was like, bro, like, how do you pick up on these little things with a student? And how do you do that? He goes, man, if I could just get into your mind for like 3 days. And he goes, you know what you need to do? And I was like, nope, nope. I don't want any part of any sort of, like, I know where you're going with this. I don't want any part of like an instructor development thing. There's already some very accomplished instructors that blow me out of the water that I I would entrust to share that information more so than me. And he was like, no, 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 no. He goes, that's the thing that's missing. He goes, that's the one little missing link. He goes, and now Ken is also, I think he's also advanced and range master instructor certified in shotgun, right? So I mean, he's gone through the entire gamut of the Tom Givens curriculum and things as well. And he was like, man, he goes, and like guys like Tom Givens and Moss and other very accomplished, the instructors programs, he goes, are great. But he goes, there's sometimes that they're still missing small nuances that, he goes, it's probably because they've forgotten more than what they're even teaching, right? So some things they overlook. Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. He goes, and that stuff is still really fresh with you. You would be doing a disservice to students or to other instructors by like withholding that just to yourself. He goes, man, you need to find a way to bottle that and market it. And I was like, no, man, I'm not. And honestly, to now, I'm not interested personally in like marketing an instructor development program as like its own separate thing. My 2-day program, that's kind of what I do on that too. So instead of just going down the line and having just the one-on-one with each student, I bring everybody, like everybody gather around. Like there's not going to be guns present right now. I want everybody to gather around, and I want everybody to kind of jump into the circle individually, and while everybody else is 100% engaged in what's going on and learning from that, both receiver as well as like the giver, right? And in that relationship, but also like to understand all those little finer nuances, the things to kind of get into my mind. What am I looking at? What am I feeling? So that you get a lot of that as well. And then peer pressure be damned. Kent was the big guy. He was like, man, I want to host your first ever like instructor program. And I was like, I don't even know what to really build it on. He goes, dude, build it on your regular curriculum, but make it a third day and show everybody, like really get into the weeds on everything. Why are you looking as a trainer, as a coach? Why are you looking for this? And why are you looking for that? And what made that stand out to you? He goes, that's the stuff that's gold to other trainers. And I was like, okay, so my very first class was October 2021 at Kent's Range there at West Shore in Pennsylvania, and it was a success. I had a couple other folks you probably know from Apache Solutions. Dang it, uh,
like Tim
Zach
Kelly
Cox.
and
Zach
Zach
Cox was
Cox. Yeah.
there, and Doc Scott was there as well, and a couple other guys had come to take that class, and that they really then, of course, then helped give me some more feedback. I'm like, man, we love this and we love that, and this could have been a little bit better. And again, I use that. I never look at that as like, oh, damn, I did a terrible job. It gives me an opportunity to like, how do I improve it? How do I make it better for the next batch? And then I kind of talked to Kent about it some more too. I mean, like I said, he's a near and dear friend. I told Kent, I was like, I'm not interested in making this like a 30 class a year type of thing. I was like, I would like to limit this to like no more than 2 classes a year, because I don't want this to turn into like, dare I say, like an instructor cert mill. Like my job's not to just give you a piece of paper and say, surprise, you're ready to start teaching my curriculum my way. It's not about that, right? It's about hopefully like breeding better coaches, better trainers, better instructors, and not by how to build a curriculum or how to do this or how to do that, or your delivery. It's like how to truly have a diagnostics, like a diagnostician's eye for things. Are there certain things that you're missing that you should be paying attention to? Are you looking too hard at something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter? Right. So learning kind of how to balance those things out just to build better coaches. And so that's kind of what developed my 3-day curriculum as far as instructor development. But a lot of the instructorship details, if you know what to look for, like instructor to instructor here, if you know what to look for, a lot of the same, that a lot of the details are in even the 2-day course that you can pick up on and get a lot from. So, and the way I look at it, it's not a secret sauce kind of thing. It's not a, well, you have to pay for this education. I mean, you know me well, like I'm involved in a lot of groups, like whether it be Facebook or Instagram or things like that, where I love to share information because I have a passion for getting better myself. And to me, the bigger passion is seeing the successes and the progress in other people. And it's not a like, oh, look at what I helped that person accomplish. It's like, it's truly a look at what that person was able to accomplish with just a little bit of input or a little bit of, a little bit of repair here from all of these different sources, whether it was from Mikos or it was from Tyler Tharp or it's from, Chris Bean or myself. Like, it's just like, I look at it as a whole, kind of like that, like it takes a village mentality. And I don't know, I feel like it's got me doing it for the right reasons and not just, I mean, the fact that I get to earn an income doing it is just like the true blessing. But even if I didn't, and I had to go back to wrenching on cars tomorrow, I think I would still be just as involved. And I think that's also what keeps me hungry for it, and kind of staves off the burnout, is because there's a balance there of like success in my own shooting, but also like really seeing the progress and the success of other shooters, friends, students, family. It's I'm just stoked even talking about it. It's just exciting.
I'm excited too. Like this stuff is really exciting. Um, we talked a little bit about diagnostics. And that's part of the reason why I come to classes like yours and classes like Tyler's and Chris. Like that's part of the reason why I come to class, because what it does is confirm my technique with, some quality coaching. And I noticed that a lot of folks, the reason why they don't practice as much as they should, especially in dry practice, is because they're afraid of developing training scars. They're just not sure if they're doing things the right way. So, do you have any guidance for folks like that?
I Yeah, and I think it goes the same for a lot of instructors and trainers too, right? I mean, I know 2023 this year is going to be, I'm hoping, knock on wood here, my busiest year yet. And 2022 was like pretty amazing for me. I mean, I'm a one-man band, right? So I do all of my admin. I do every email. I do follow-up emails with every student of my 2-day classes, right? I mean, that's something that a lot of instructors don't do. And I think it's a neat way to continue a relationship beyond just, okay, we've done 16 to 20 hours in a class together. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your money. Hope you got something out of it. Don't ever call me again. It's a great way to be able to keep that communication line open. But I mean, I do all of that on my own, as well as every phone call, every range call, every instructor cert, and teaching classes and all the travel. But at the same time, so I did 39 or 40 individual 2-day classes. A couple of those 2-day classes had like an additional day or whatever tacked on. I think I ended up ended up somewhere around the neighborhood of like 43 or 44 classes for 2022, which was quite the undertaking for, like I said, a one-man band. But I still made, and I say all that kind of long-winded to kind of segue into, it's still important for me, um, even feeling like a somewhat accomplished competitor, to still compete, still feeling like a somewhat accomplished instructor, to still get guidance and coaching and instruction from other instructors and coaches to sharpen my skills, so to speak. Um, so towards the end of the year, I generally, like in November, try to kind of ramp down things a little bit to give me a couple of weekends to then try to fill the void, so to speak. Like, wow, it's not just I get to sit in my pajamas at home and do nothing. It's like, okay, cool. Who's coming close? Who could I travel to? Who have I not had an opportunity to train, to learn from, to see how they teach? And it's important for me. I would say also, for other instructors, if you're filling your entire curriculum, your entire year with your own curriculum to teach, that's great. And keep it up, but uh, don't dismiss the value of training with somebody else, whether they're a better shooter than you, whether you're a better shooter than them, whether you feel you're more accomplished than they are. Like, leave ego and pride out of it completely and just go open-minded as a student, and I think there's a ton to learn from that. So like this past year, uh, November 2022, I had a break in my schedule and was able to go with my best friend, AJ Zito, to down to Casa Grande, Arizona, and attend a Mike Seeklander, Rob Latham class. It was a joint 3-day class that they teach called The Bigger Circle. And it was great and very eye-opening for a lot of different reasons. Shooting wise, and Robbie tried to tell me months and months and months ahead of time. He was like, it's not for guys like you, as far as the shooting aspect or the curriculum. And I was like, I don't care, Rob. There's like, I've never had an opportunity to train under your tutelage, like, and pay you for your time. I want that, but I want the experience also from one trainer to another, to kind of just learn how you convey information. Like, I'm going to learn something. Right. And he was like, all right, if you want, yeah, sign up. And so I did. And there was no apprehension at all. I'm glad that, AJ and I both are glad that we took the course. Shooting wise, yeah, I don't want to say it wasn't up to our snuff or anything like that, but we weren't necessarily the best shooters in the class. There were a lot of great, well accomplished shooters and high skilled shooters in the class. There were also a lot of brand new shooters in the class. And it was great to see, like how Rob and how Mike identify each and kind of separate their time and approach instruction with, both ends of the spectrum and everything in the middle. Again, for kind of the same reasons. Like, it kind of validated a lot of ways that I approach teaching, with a variety of line of folks on a shooting line in a class, as well as like, again, kind of help validate I'm doing that right. I'm not doing that as well as they are, or, ooh, maybe I like the way I do that, but I like the way they said that better. I'm going to mix those two together, and I think that's very important. And it allows you to keep your eyes open so that you don't kind of get stuck in your own echo chamber, I guess, and
I think it grows the entire community too.
Absolutely. Absolutely it does. So, and it was a great experience. So, and then this year, I haven't decided who I'm going to attend or what class I'm going to attend yet. I've got all year to kind of make that determination. But yeah, I do the same thing. I think I've got like 1 or 2 weekends within this year that I don't have a class scheduled, or I don't have like a match scheduled, that are also kind of outside of the realm of just, okay, this is like a weekend home vacation time, I need a break, but like okay, I'm going to fill this voided weekend with a class someplace. So, and I still like to be a student just as much as anybody else. So, but yeah, I mean, whether you're a trainer or whether you're a first time student and you kind of feel like, man, you've got to, a lot of it is a pride thing. A lot of it is like a self-served ego, like, well, I'm the best of all of the buddies that I go out and shoot with at a range, and they've gone and taken classes and I'm still better than them. So what am I going to get from a class? you're going to get a lot, whether you think you're the best, or maybe you're afraid, like, man, I'm not that well of accomplished shooter. I might be a liability to myself or somebody else. Man, both ends of the spectrum themselves would lend themselves hugely to going and getting some instruction, going and seeing a trainer. Maybe not even a 2-day class. Maybe find out what trainers in your area and seek out, even an hour or two of personalized instruction with them. It doesn't have to be in a group, but getting guidance along the way. And I can say this from a person that has worked very, very hard to get where I'm at. And I'm not ashamed or afraid to admit that I'm not self-taught. Like I think it's great when guys are like, well, I'm completely self-taught, never had any instruction. And look at all of these titles that I've won or all of these achievements I've made. Man, that's great. But you are an outlier. You are not the norm. And I'm certainly not an outlier there. I'm well within the norm. Like I've had to work my tail end off to achieve the level of shooting and the level of skill that I have. And it's not been without a multitude of mentors and leaders and coaches and teachers and friends that have all been more than willing to kind of wrap an arm around me and take me under their wing and help me along the way. And surrounding yourself with good people and good mentors it's critically important.